F1 News Script, simplified version. It finally happened. Nicholas Latifi and Williams F1 team said they're breaking up at the end of 2022. It looks like the team saw how good their car could really be when Albon and De Vries got points with it. De Vries did that amazing thing by only spending 1 hour in the car before the big qualifying race on Friday practice. On top of that, Latifi always had this pay driver label stuck on him, and it's hard to get better when you know your seat is safe no matter what you do. It's a lot like what happens with Stroll, but Williams is in a different spot now. With their new owners, the team can finally have some money freedom without needing Latifi's dad's cash. What happens next for both Latifi and Williams? Who's the obvious person to replace the Canadian driver? All these answers are in our video, so stick around. After 3 years at Williams, Nicholas Latifi's time with the British team is finally over. We have to say, it wasn't a famous run. He was mostly known for the funny memes people made about him, like "Go Latifi" and stuff like that. Like when Latifi was fastest during Hungarian Grand Prix Friday practice and when he made it to the final qualifying round at Silverstone. Other than that, he's been nothing but trouble and hasn't been able to give his team a valuable performance at Silverstone. Even though 6 drivers had to quit the race, including his teammate Albon, he still couldn't finish in the points as he came in 12th place. Latifi only scored points twice. That was at the Hungarian and Belgian Grand Prix last year. In his 3 years with Williams, he doesn't have a contract for next season. With all the choices Williams has right now, it's clear the team was looking around and finally found a better replacement for Latifi. Talking to reporters, Latifi said, "I'd like to take this chance to thank everybody at Williams Racing, all the people back at the factory and those I work with at the racetrack for the last 3 years. My first F1 race got delayed because of the pandemic, but we eventually got started in Austria. Even though we didn't get the results we hoped for together, it's still been an amazing journey. Getting those first points in Hungary last year was a moment I'll never forget, and I will move on to the next part of my career with special memories of my time with this hardworking team. I know none of us will stop trying our best until the end of the season." Williams' boss Jost Capito also talked about this situation, wishing nothing but the best for Latifi and praising him for his 3 years of hard work that he put into the team. He added that Latifi is a great team player who has a great attitude toward his co-workers and work, and is liked and respected throughout the business. "Our time together is now ending, but I know we will put in full effort into getting the most out of what we can do together for the rest of the season. We wish him all the very best for his future, both in and out of the race car." What's even more interesting is that Latifi's last race will be at the same place where he caused the mess that helped Verstappen take the championship away from Hamilton. Just because of this, Horner jokingly said that Latifi has unlimited Red Bull drinks for the rest of his life. Now that this story has ended, let's talk about what's next for both sides. First, we have to say that Williams won't miss Latifi that much. Maybe his father's money is something that will make them miss Latifi? But once they start scoring some good points, money should come by itself without any problem. The fact that Latifi was beaten 13-2 by Albon in qualifying sessions and 12-3 on race days shows that his place is not in F1. Williams has many choices, and Jost Capito talked about some of them before Latifi announced he was leaving Williams. In F1, first, everybody expected De Vries to replace Latifi, even for the rest of the 2022 season, which is something we would be more than happy to see. However, this doesn't seem like a real option, and it looks like De Vries still has the highest chance of signing with Williams in 2023. This is the team he scored his first career points with in his F1 debut. And this is the team where De Vries pushed Latifi down to 21st place on the rankings, but De Vries is also talking with AlphaTauri. And it seems like the Italian team has a good chance of signing the Dutch driver as a replacement for Gasly. Talking about De Vries, Jost Capito said, "They are very close friends." He added, "He did an absolutely amazing job and I think very highly of him. That's why my expectations were extremely high and he did even better than that. It's so difficult to get into that car to race for 2 hours and do the qualifying and not make any mistakes. And he wasn't just driving by himself. He had to defend, he had to attack, he had to get lapped and not make any mistakes. Then he had to do a pit stop. It's just so complicated, and it's an outstanding job. He also talked about De Vries's contract situations. I don't know, you have to ask him what his contract situations are. You've just seen how messy it can be, and we're not known for being messy. I'm not doing what-if things, so I'm only interested. In fact, if the facts are there, then there might be solutions. But let's say De Vries manages to make a deal with AlphaTauri. What's next for Williams from here? First, they could look at their own young drivers and sign someone who is currently in F2, like Logan Sargent. However, there is one thing Sargent needs to do in order to race in F1, and that is getting a super license. If he manages to finish in the top 5 at the last race in Yas Marina, Sargent will be able to apply for the super license, and he would have an equal chance of joining the sport just like any other competitor for the seat. He is currently in 3rd place, and his spot is in danger from several drivers, 6 to be exact. One of them could be another person competing for Williams's empty seat. Jack Doohan is currently sitting in 4th place and could pass Sargent for the 3rd place spot. Even though both of them can finish in the top 5, the fact that Doohan might perform better under pressure than Sargent, who has had a bunch of crashes this season, may decide who will be signed at Williams for the 2023 season. However, Doohan is an Alpine young driver, and it's likely that the French team will try to make a deal with Williams the same way they did with Piastri. This would mean Williams taking the Renault engines from 2023 and beyond, and Doohan would get a couple of years of experience before moving to the Alpine main team. This would leave Sargent, who is currently 21 years old, a couple more seasons to grow up in F2, just like Capito said, and then he could come and take a seat in Williams. When talking about the future of Williams drivers and whether they'll be open to taking younger drivers rather than ones with experience, Capito said, "There's a good choice of drivers. It's a good choice of young drivers. There's still some experienced drivers there as well, and so I think it's quite different philosophies, different strategies, and in the situation of the team, we can work on different strategies. We're not so much in the front that we need experienced drivers, so we can experiment a bit and get young drivers in. So we'll see what turns out to be best. Either we think he's ready and he's capable, or not. He could do another year at F2 or whatever." Capito stressed that the only thing that will matter most for Williams taking Sargent as Latifi's replacement will be his skill, not what country he's from. With that being said, we are in for an interesting turn of events. Sargent and De Vries are likely the people who will have the biggest chance of getting that seat, but this is completely up to Williams and their choice of driver. According to how things happened recently, it's likely that they want to sign De Vries compared to Sargent, but that deal may be out of their control, so they could be forced to be happy with a rookie. What do you think will happen next at Williams? Do you think Latifi's replacement will be a much better driver than him? Given how poorly Latifi performed, let us know in the comments below. Want to know more about F1? Click on the video on your screen.